Okay, let me ask you something. What if you could grow 5 times the food in the exact same garden space you have right now? Today, we're diving into a method that does just that. It's called square foot gardening, and believe me, it is a total game changer for anyone who thinks they just don't have enough room to grow.
Right off the bat, let's just bust the biggest myth in gardening. Most of us have this idea in our heads that to get a real, decent harvest, you need a big plot of land, right?
Well, this simple, kind of elegant system proves that idea is completely outdated. It's all about working smarter, not bigger. And when I say smarter, I mean incredibly efficient. We're talking about producing up to 5 times the yield of a traditional row garden in the exact same amount of space. No, that's not a typo, 5 times. So, what does this actually look like? Well, this right here, it's a garden, but it's all organized into this super neat 1 foot by 1 foot grid. This simple little framework is the heart of the whole system, and it makes everything, from planting to harvesting, unbelievably clear and efficient. So how is this system so much more efficient? Well, it all starts by completely rethinking the way traditional gardens are laid out. Think about a traditional garden for a second. So much of it is just empty paths for walking, right? Paths that, let's be honest, end up growing more weeds than anything else. Square foot gardening just gets rid of all that wasted space. It focuses all your water, nutrients, and attention right where they belong, on the plants. You know, this also creates a huge psychological shift. A massive, weedy plot can feel like you're gearing up for a weekend-long war. But tending to a few neat little squares, that's a 10-minute job. It turns a chore into a quick, satisfying daily habit. And this whole idea of making gardening more manageable is part of a much larger trend. In 2023, container gardening, another great space-saving method, shot up by 200%. People are actively looking for smarter, more efficient ways to grow that actually fit into a modern, busy life. Okay, so we've covered the why. You're probably thinking, this sounds amazing. So now let's get into the how. Because designing your plot correctly right from day one is absolutely the key to success. Before you build anything, you need to play detective in your own space. Seriously, the most crucial ingredient you can't buy is sunlight. So track it for a full day and find a spot with 6 to 8 hours of direct sun. Then think about convenience. Is your water source nearby? And don't forget to think vertically. A simple trellis can literally triple your growing area for vining plants like cucumbers or beans. So with all those factors in mind, it's time to ask yourself a really important question. What size makes sense for your goals and, let's be real, your schedule? This chart is fantastic for getting realistic with yourself. A tiny 2 by 2 foot bed is perfect for a balcony and requires almost no time, which is great for herbs or if you're a first-timer. But a 4 by 8 bed? That can start producing a serious amount of food for a family. The whole key is to pick a size you can actually manage. All right, you've picked your spot and your size. Now for what I think is the secret weapon of the entire system, the soil. See, you don't fix bad soil with this method. You create perfect soil right from scratch. The formula, famously known as Mel's Mix, is just beautifully simple. It's just 3 ingredients in equal parts by volume. Each component does a very specific job, and when you put them together, they create the absolute ideal environment for plant roots. So let's break it down. 1/3 is coarse vermiculite, which acts like a tiny sponge holding onto moisture. Another third is peat moss, which gives the soil body and helps it retain water. And the final third is blended compost. That's the nutrient powerhouse that feeds your plants. That's it. Simple, right? With your bed built and your perfect soil all mixed up, it's time for the really fun part, deciding what to plant to get the most food out of every single square foot. This is where that grid system becomes your best friend. It's not guesswork. The grid tells you exactly how many plants fit. A single square foot can hold 16 carrots, or 4 heads of lettuce, or even 9 spinach plants. It's like a visual guide to intensive planting. But if you really want to achieve mastery, it all comes down to this concept: succession planting. Instead of one big harvest, you create a continuous cycle. As soon as you pull one crop out of a square, you pop another one right back in. This keeps your garden productive from spring all the way to fall. For example, a single square foot could give you quick radishes in the early spring. Once they're harvested, you plant lettuce in that same spot. After the lettuce, maybe some summer beans. And to finish the season, how about some beets? That's 4 different harvests from one tiny plot of land. And here's a simple but absolutely vital tip for your layout. Always place your tall, climbing plants, like tomatoes or pole beans, on the north side of your garden bed. This prevents them from casting a big shadow over their smaller neighbors, and it makes sure everyone gets enough sun. So you've designed, built, and planted your garden. The great news is that the entire system is designed to make the daily care super quick and really easy. When it comes to watering, the rule of thumb is to water deeply, but less often. A good soak once or twice a week encourages deep, strong roots. And always aim for the soil, not the leaves, because that helps prevent disease. A simple moisture meter can take all the guesswork out of it if you're not sure. For pests, the best defense is just a quick daily walkthrough. Seriously. Just scan your plants, take a peek under the leaves for any unwelcome visitors, and act on any problems right away. Catching something early means you can solve it by just picking off a few bugs instead of battling an infestation later on. So we've seen how this system turns small spaces into these productive little powerhouses with a smart grid, perfect soil, and strategic planting. It just proves that growing your own food is more accessible than you ever thought. So the only question left is, what will you grow in your first square foot?